Hey gang, you're listening to the Radults podcast.
Today's guest is tattooist Olivia Brumen. Olivia has been tattooing since 2007. Since then, she has lovingly brought to life the ideas of a mass of clients, all with the same amount of care and effort, no matter how big, small, detailed or simple the piece. Olivia's favourite subject matters include human faces, animals, pin-ups and classic cartoon heroes and villains, but floral designs, particularly roses, are closest to her heart. Olivia lives in a world of bright colours and bold imagery, and she has a bright personality and a bold spirit to match. Olivia Brumen is a Radult, and she's our guest on today's Radults podcast. Welcome, Liv.
Hi, thanks for having me, guys.
No worries. So, Liv, who are you and what do you do?
So, my name's Olivia Brumen. I'm an identical twin. I am a tattooer from Melbourne, Australia. And I've been tattooing for about 11 years now. And in my opinion, I work the best job in the whole world and I'm living the dream.
How did you get into, as you say, living the dream and having the best job in the world?
Yeah, it's a really good question. And I always, anytime any of my clients ask me this, I really, I love answering it because to me it's a really special story. So I would have been about 16 and I grew up in a really small town called Mornington. And to me it's a very vanilla place. I went to a Catholic school. You know, my twin sister and I were very much black sheep. We were two of the very few kids at school who loved punk music. And I loved doing visual art. Like, I've always loved to paint and draw. And it's one of those things in my life that genuinely it's the only thing I've ever been good at. Like, you put me in a sport class and I'm fucking hopeless. Or maths or science or, you know, but art, like, just be able to pick up a pencil or a paintbrush and draw or paint. It was just something I excelled at. And I had a friend named Charlie who I went to school with, and Charlie was in the year above me and we both like bonded so much over punk music, particularly Rancid. It was like our thing, you know. And I remember one afternoon at school, he said to me, he's like, I'm going to go get tattooed. You should come watch. Like, you know, all our music idols had tattoos. And he just thought that it would really resonate with me because of my love for visual art. And I remember I took my drawing folios and we got the bus out to fucking Rosebud to this like dodgy tattoo shop. They tattooed him underage. He was 17, I was I think 16 at the time. And it was genuinely, it was a light bulb moment for me. I was just like, holy fuck, this is the coolest form of art I'd ever seen. Because it was a painting, but it was on skin and it was something that was never going to come off. But then at the same time, it's punk rock, but it's beautiful. And I remember that night I went home and I was like, I'm going to be a tattooist. And my parents were like, no, you're fucking not under this roof. So I left home at 18 with my twin Nikki and we never looked back, you know, and I got an apprenticeship. But just to, add on to the end of this, my friend Charlie, he's sort of, in my opinion, to thank for me getting into tattooing. He actually died a few years after I started apprenticing. I never got to tattoo him, so it's like it's a beautiful story, but it's really fucking sad all the same. But he's sort of my thank you for getting into it.
Yeah, I mean, like, it's sort of similar with me. My mum's heavily tattooed, and as a kid, she'd get tattooed by the one tattooist at Purple Haze. I think at the time it was like Lilydale, Mick Hayes.
Yeah.
And, I think it was in Lilydale or One Turner, his first shop. And even as a kid, like, I'd go to these appointments, and I remember telling him, I want to get tattooed. He goes, all right, you come to me when you're 18 and I'll do your first one. And sure enough, now he went and moved Purple Haze to Narre Warren, and he did my first tattoo the day I turned 18.
So cool.
And yeah, it was just one of those things that I think the environment sort of helps. Like, I think it's so much different seeing tattoos, but then seeing tattoos where they're done, the type of people that are tattooing, because they're vastly different. and just the atmosphere of it. It's sort of like
Totally.
listening to a CD or going to the concert. It's just not the same, and I think the experience is what makes a tattoo like special and important.
Yeah, it's totally true.
What sort of influences artistically do you have that, I guess, apart from your friend that you talked about, that sort of
Yeah.
your art sort of style, and what tattooists do you look up to and admire and stuff
Yeah,
like that?
totally. So when I was getting into tattooing, so before I even got an apprenticeship, I was 16, still in high school, people were pretty much laughing in my face, like, you want to be a tattooist, like, what the fuck? Then it wasn't what it is now. Like, this was pre LA Ink and Miami Ink and all that crap. And so it was kind of my way of finding tattooists was buying a tattoo magazine from the news agency, and the main artist that I remember was my now boss, Trevor McStay, and also an artist, Geordie Cole, who did my back. There were a couple of others. There was Evan Griffiths, Sarah Melda, Sarah Bowyer, I think she is now, and Owen Williams, and these people were like, my biggest inspiration. But at the same time, I love fine art as well. I love going to a museum or a gallery and seeing, the classics. Like, I love my pre-Raphaelite art. I love Renaissance. I love realism, all that sort of stuff. So you kind of take from, all different angles. But early days, studios like Dynamic, where I work now, Tattoo Magic, Chapel Tattoo, they were like the shops, they were the shit. And I still think they are.
They are. Like, everyone, you get not only a tattooist's renown, like, shops can be too, because then that, somewhere like Dynamic, there's not going to be a bad tattooist there. Even though that's subjective, there's not really such thing as, or I mean, maybe you very different, but there's not such thing as a bad tattooist. Maybe their techniques are bad, or like the ink falls out or anything like that, but everyone's style is different. But like Dynamic and stuff like that, you hear that name, you know that everyone that works there is of that standard.
That's really sweet, Mike. And it's funny because I feel the same way. Like, instantly if somebody works at Tattoo Magic, I'm like, wow, congratulations. Because to me, to me it's a huge deal. I nerd out hard,
It is, and in such a thing, and we'll touch on this more later, but when you're doing something that's meant to be something for life, to have that level of trust and comfort, like, that, like, with Dynamic you can have that, and other shops that have those names, that by rights you can trust anyone in there to tattoo you. Yeah. And to get a product that you'll enjoy.
It's really cool. I just quickly wanted to add that, Mike, before you were talking about getting tattooed by Mick Hayes, and my boss Trevor, they actually used to work together years and years ago. So they're like, to me, they're two of the greats of Melbourne tattooing. Yeah.
So now, Mike mentioned that when you're tattooing someone, you are essentially drawing on them, and it's going to stay there for the rest of their life.
Yeah.
How does that feel as the tattooist, number one?
It's a good question.
And number two, how did you find the trust in yourself to be able to do that as a living?
Yeah. It's a really good question, Brenton. It's sort of, I think the age that I got into it, I started apprenticing when I was about 18, and that comes with total naivety, total cockiness, thinking you know everything, you know fucking nothing.
I think that's something that apprentice has to feel, though.
Yeah, and that's why that's the advantage of starting young. But the disadvantage is you think you're gonna be alright, starting you're fucking crap. And I so shit, and I it took years to find my way with it. And I remember the first tattoo I ever did was the scariest thing I've ever done in my life. Like, I was shaking, I couldn't, it was horrible. And just over time, you just get more and more relaxed and confident. And I think at the end of the day, you remind yourself, people do make mistakes in life. In everything you do, you have to make mistakes to learn from them. And that doesn't mean something like doing a big spelling mistake on someone. It could just be overworking a bit of a tattoo or doing a line a little bit wonky. You can run back over, you can fix up, you can do a touch up next time. It's not the end of the world. But every tattooist, sorry to say, listeners, every tattooist has made a mistake. Whether you know or not. I have for one. just have to accept it. You know, it's part of the journey and the process, and you know, it's humbling, and you're only as good as your last tattoo. But I take what I do really seriously, so I endeavour to not make many mistakes. But it's ultimately, you're human. There's human error in life, in every day, you know. Yeah.
Now I'm like so curious to know what these are.
I don't know if I should say it.
But I mean, like, I can only vouch for the quality of your work based off the tattoos I get to look at every single day, which are on my girlfriend.
Yeah.
That's right, people. Podcaster has a girlfriend. Breaking news. And it's really cool knowing that someone with the artistic ability, but also the personality and the ethical beliefs and stuff that you have is behind those images. I think it's really cool that people get to walk away with a piece of you for the rest of their life.
Yeah, it's really special.
And I feel like you would have a bond with them that a lot of other artists might not ever get to experience.
You're so right. Like, I've met like the best people. I've made lifelong friends. You know, like Brenton just mentioned about his girlfriend Emma, like, and I've tattooed Emma for years, and I consider Emma a friend. You know, something like that. And I'm the biggest believer in what I do. It's taught me to like never judge a book by its cover. Like, you never know. Somebody can walk in, they can look very conservative, and then you get to know them, but from their story, and they're the coolest person ever. But you pass them on the street, like, oh, they just look like a dorky, middle-aged, whatever, you know. And it's so not the case. Like, yeah, you meet the best people through it, and I'm nothing without my clients. You know, they're what give me, you know, what I've got.
Because I'm genuinely interested in this. How did you get to Dynamic?
Yeah, it's like, so Dynamic Tattoo it was my dream shop. You know, like, I'm like forever learning and trying to like, you know, get better every day. But this is like, you know, one of the biggest milestones of my career, because like I said earlier, you know, I'd look through tattoo magazines and be like, Trevor McStay, like, he's the shit of tattooing, because I still believe that. And I remember I'd go to gigs at the corner hotel, like, you know, underage gigs. There used to be that shop, International Trash, next door.
100%.
And you'd go buy I'd buy my like Distillers merch, or my Bouncing Souls, or Transplants, or whatever the hell I bought. And next door was Dynamic, and I remember just like looking in the window. I was like, one day I'm gonna work there. And so I have a friend, Daryl, from America, and he started there, and he really helped me to get the job. Like, I met Trevor at Daryl's wedding. I had to have a couple of champagnes in order to build the courage to speak to him. And I had a bit of a conversation with Trevor, and I think we just found a really nice common ground. And yeah, that's sort of where the career, like, you know, the job there started. So that, like, they had somebody leaving, and Daryl, my friend, he was really helpful. He's like, ask Trev. And I was like, I'm not good enough, but I did it, and yeah, it got me the position there. So I'm so lucky and happy.
And how long have you been there for now?
Just over 2 years, and I feel like I've just begun. You know, I want to stay there for at least, like, you don't know what the future holds, but like, I know in my heart right now I'd want to stay at least 10. Like, I just love it. I'm learning so much. So inspiring. Trev's the best boss, the best teacher. Yeah.
He sounds like a future guest.
And by that compliment, you've kept your job for the next 8 years too.
I'd be curious to know what the most unusual request you've had is. You don't have to name the customer.
Probably
the client.
don't name the customer.
Yeah, but just what the most unusual request you've ever had is, as far as tattoos go, and if you did it.
Yeah, okay. Ooh, do you know, this is a question that gets asked quite frequently, and it's sort of like measured in what people find weird, for one. I've done so many weird ones. Like, I've done, like, on this beautiful lady, I did these, it was meant to be representations of her family, and she did, it was meant to be herself, so it was like a little girl flashing a wombat, and the wombat's eyes were like bulging out of its head, and that's meant to be her husband, because she called him Wombat. And then I've done like little Lego characters, like pimps and hoes on my friend Kaylin. Like I've done so much weird shit. You do so much weird shit. You do lettering. I remember once I tattooed this guy. This is actually probably up there with the weirdest. He got like a dagger with roses, and he got in the banner. I was honestly like, "Are you sure you want to do this?" He got "Life sucks," and I was like, "Why are you getting this, man?" He's like, "Because life sucks. Like, I freaking hate life." I was like, "Okay."
Not that we want to condone any sort of self-harm, but it'd be cheaper, right?
Yeah.
If you feel that strongly about it.
But the really funny thing to add to that, he has a business and he called it "My Business Sucks." Like, that's the name of his job, because he's like a vacuum cleaning duct business.
I feel like we need to like get this guy listening to this podcast by the sake of, like, have you ever refused a tattoo? Like, have you ever said, "No, I'm not doing that"?
Yeah, it's a good question. Do you know, so many people now, I think because of all the celebs, your Rihannas and your bloody Kim Kardashians or whoever, they all get their bloody finger tattoos.
Yeah.
And so many people want like a lettering all down their fingers. And they don't understand that like going down the side of your finger, it just drops out.
Yeah.
You have to, it's just not going to hold. Like, we can do something little, that's fine, but you can't get a sentence down your finger. Like, it's just not going to work.
Well, on this lovely detour that we've taken, we're also curious to know what the worst reaction you've had.
Like pain tolerance.
Pain tolerance wise,
okay.
or even your quality of your art, if you like.
I've never, touch wood, had somebody say like, "I'm really not happy with it."
Yeah.
Like, I think, you know, sometimes you, like, I would really get it now, but back in the day you might have somebody like wants you to change things a little bit, but I've never had anybody be like, "I fucking hate it." Thank fuck. But because I'm very thorough and I'm always, you know, making sure people are 100% on the design and everything. But in terms of pain reaction, you definitely sometimes get people who they kind of like make so much noise and like moaning, it almost sounds like having an orgasm. It's a bit awkward.
Are you sure they're not?
Yeah. Exactly. You get your tears, you get your wailing, and like, not in a very long time, but I've had fainters. You know, you get, I remember one day, this was probably the most crazy reaction. I was literally putting a stencil on a guy's calf. He was standing up, I was on a lower step, and he didn't tell me, but at the time I used Dettol to put the stencil on. He had a phobia at something, you know, about relating it to like to clinical kind of environment. The smell of Dettol made him lightheaded, so I was literally putting a stencil on his calf, and he was 6 foot something, face planted into the ground, convulsing. It was effed up.
And with someone like that, are you allowed to, once they come to, can you tattoo, or do you have to send them away for the day? Or?
Yeah, I did tattoo him. I ended up just laying him on the bench. He was fine.
Yeah.
I got him like some sugary, like food, like chocolate, and like a sugary juice, and he was okay. But it was, I've seen it happen a couple of times before, but some people get lightheaded literally on a stencil. It's the same as like blood tests. It's not the pain. It just, people just wig out over the like idea of like they're related to like clinics, and you know, it's like obviously we're using like sterilized tools, needles, you know, all that stuff. They get a bit like, whoa, like freaked out, you know.
Yeah.
Says me, who has to lay down for a blood test, you know.
That's fascinating.
I know. I've never fainted. I think I'm scared that I will or something. I'm always like, "Can I lay down?" And I don't look.
Do they give you strange looks? Seeing that
Yes,
you have
there was
tattoos,
like, "You have tattoos, you can't be scared." It's different.
It's a good time.
I reckon
for
it's a
rad
good
break.
time for a rad break. The first rad break we're going to do is known as rad or fad. We ask you if something is rad or it's fad.
This is the best.
Right, so the first two I'm going to ask you are related to tattooing,
Yeah.
and the last one is not.
Okay.
First up, rad or fad, Southern Cross tattoos.
She's an answer.
Has anyone ever
The
explained why they get?
Swazi,
Yeah.
as we call it.
I like that. That's going on the.
Aussie Swazi.
That's going to be a hashtag
Yeah.
for this, alright? Has anyone ever explained why they want it on the neck? It seems to always be like on the neck or chest.
It is,
Is
eh?
it not? Like, it can't be anywhere else. It's neck or chest every time.
Yeah, they're fucked up. Fat.
Oh, this is a hard one for me to ask.
Okay.
Rad or fad? Band tattoos.
Rad. I think it's
Oh,
rad.
good. I've got so many. It's not fun.
I made you ask it.
It is a fad a lot of the time for the person, but I think it's rad.
Yeah.
I reckon it's fucking cool.
Do you have band tattoos?
Yes.
Can we ask who?
No.
I'm really hoping it's like T Swift or something.
I don't like. It's too bad to even. Actually, the cool one I've got quotes on the back of my legs from a Bikini Kill song. That's
Cool.
awesome.
That's awesome.
That's the only one she's got to
And
admit.
so in keeping with your character too. It's perfect. And the last one is Disney remakes. They're currently doing a bunch of live action remakes of all the classic Disney films. Fad, right?
Crap.
Yeah.
Why even bother? Like, get a new idea. Like, give somebody a go. You know what I mean? Like, rather than just doing the same old shit.
That's it. And they have what? Childish Gambino as Simba in.
God.
Yeah.
Beyonce is Nala. Let's not even get to the fact that I'm pretty sure that it's weird that lions are called King of the Jungle when they totally live on the plains. But anyway.
Yeah.
This game is called Radult or Badult. Usually we ask you about 3 people. Today I'm only asking you about 1.
And it's more painful than 3.
Is Nikki Brumen a Radult or a Badult?
Is it just my interpretation?
Your interpretation.
Okay. She's a Radult and a Badult. She's a shithead. She's the evil twin.
The one up in the attic.
She's my best friend, so she's the fucking raddest. She's totally the epitome of what you see is totally not what you get. People look at her every day in her job at the art centre doing ticketing, and they're always like, wait, what? You sing for a heavy metal band? And it's just an example of like, don't ever judge a book by its cover. But the battle in her is she burps, farts, shits with the door open. She's fucking feral. She's the most unglamorous member of Pagan. All the boys spend way more time on their hair than she ever would. Yeah, she's the fucking best.
I like that we've
So she's
just got all
both.
this. We're both the big fans of Pagan, and we've just got all this goss here.
Yeah.
Look, one particular member of that band definitely spends a lot of time on his hair.
Yes.
It's
You're not
perfect.
wrong.
Oh.
Yes. The helmet. The Ray Martin.
It doesn't move. What did you call it? The Ray Martin.
The rainbow.
We're getting so many hashtags out of
I
this.
know. Here she was saying that Nikki is going to be better at this. The gauntlet has been thrown down. Nikki, when you come in for the podcast, you are in for a time and a half.
I love it.
And you will get a chance to fire off your revenge too, don't
Yes.
worry. Alright.
Knock on wood that this never ever happens, but if you never tattoo again, look at going into comedy. I think it's really, I think it could be.
Could be. Also, you've won the award for most adorable laugh thus far on the podcast.
Oh, I had that before you. God damn it.
So, I didn't position that question where I did by accident. I want to know a few things about your relationship with your sister because we're not going to have any other identical twins that come on the podcast in all likelihood. I don't think the Jonas brothers are going to come and join us on the pod.
I hope not.
So, or the Olsen twins probably not going to rock up on the pod.
I hope not with them as well.
Maybe the Maddens.
Maybe the Maddens, yeah.
thought we were
I know
trying to
you've
get
got a
Radults.
soft spot for the
I
Maddens.
love the Maddens.
Yeah. My first question is, what has it been like growing up with another person who shares exact genetic coding with you?
Yeah. I love everything you guys are asking. It's just like, because this is like the core of who me and Nikki are and how we've become who we've become. And so growing up, it was always the twins. We never had our own name. It was always the twins' birthday. Same cake, same candles. Never had, same present in a different colour. Same outfit in a different colour. And we almost resented it. I hated it. I wanted to be me. I wanted my own identity. I didn't want to just be a twin. I wanted to be Olivia and she wanted to be Nikki. And I remember it all changed when we were about 13 and we started to kind of like pull away from the norm, and like we start to really find ourselves in our clothes and fashion and become really unique. And then at about 14, I remember we both started to listen to alternative music. And we, went to like a $1 short gig, and
I love that, man.
Sure, Brenton was probably there the time.
Yeah.
And we both just started to find music, and it was from that moment forth we became best friends. We would lock ourselves in our room every night, dream about playing in a band together, listen to CDs, just constantly. But the thing that we found with music was we both loved alternative music. We liked different bands. So that was where we found who we were. It was so cool. Like, she was listening to the White Stripes. I was listening to the Distillers. She was listening to Sex Pistols. I was listening to Rancid. It was just like same but different. But we had our own thing, but we'd always go with each other to gigs. And from that day forth, we were best friends, and we became, the black sheep of bloody Mornington. Like,
that's a hard title to have, right?
Yeah.
Like, in Mornington.
Yeah. People were like going freaks, and so I loved it. And it's just who we became, and we've been best friends ever since. And I think it's because we found ourselves in music, and it was the catalyst for like everything we love in life. Music is besides tattooing is the most important thing to me. I love it.
I'm going to throw a question in that I just thought of. You spoke about that both of you wanted to be your own entities, separate from being twins. You didn't want to be, labelled as twins as such, or the twins. Becoming best friends and stuff, would it be as bad of a stigma, or would it even be a stigma to be counted as twins now?
Not at all. And it's totally it. It's like, I love it. Like, I relish in it now. Like, I'm almost freak out when people are like, you don't look that same. I'm like, yes, we do. We are identical. And I was just saying to the boys earlier that, like, for listeners, that you're gonna freak out at how similar our voices are. Like, a lot of people can't even tell us apart when they hear us. It's hilarious. But I absolutely love it now, because she's my best friend. I'm so proud to be an identical twin. To me, it's like I've had a buddy through everything. I had a buddy in the womb. Like, I was taking up more of those nutrients. She was the run.
I'd like to imagine that you fist bumped somewhere.
Yeah.
What we should tell listeners as well is we're planning on getting both Nikki and Olivia, the twins, on the same podcast at the same time.
Yeah.
Mostly just to fuck with you guys.
Yeah.
And I would like to see, like, maybe we can do it, and we'll give the listeners a bit of a heads up, but if we could get, like, each of you to answer each other's questions and stuff like that.
Or maybe we'll even get, because obviously we won't be able to hear your guys' opinion, but I'm thinking Nikki and I will do a test on Mike and Brenton, get them to close their eyes and guess who's talking at
Hell
them.
yes.
It's a hard challenge.
That is a hard challenge. There's something that you mentioned earlier, was that you dreamed of being in a band together.
Yeah.
Now, that's another one of your dreams that you actually achieved. You were in a band together called Lil Lamb and the Rosemarys, which were fantastic to watch in a live setting. For anyone who never got a chance to see this band, who I think are now defunct or maybe technically on a hiatus.
We're done.
We get a reunion and we can record it on a podcast.
Yeah.
The visual style that went with that band was like baby doll parts and like fake blood screwed all over them with like messages written on them, and you had like a doll's head on a spike.
Yeah.
Was such a perfect merger of your two personalities.
Yeah.
In one band. The thing that I'm interested in knowing is, was that enough for you on the musical realm to have done just that, or do you still want to do more in music?
I love that you asked me that, Brenton. It's because I've always had so fucking much love for music and playing guitar and being a woman who plays guitar, because girls in bands is my favourite thing in music, and I have a bit of a yearning to do it for fun, but that was the reason why we stopped. It just wasn't becoming fun anymore. It was getting actually a bit stressful because I'm so busy with work. So if it can be fun and I can just do it like around Melbourne and that's it, then I'd love to keep doing it. But it'd just take for me to kind of plan something, and I've just pushed it away at the moment. But I never say never. I would maybe like to do it again.
If a position opened up, would you like be guitarist for Pagan?
No.
I mean, apart from the fact that they're in, Europe, like, right now, so it's not just Melbourne, but...
Yeah. No, I think at the start we kind of considered it could be a thing, but I wouldn't.
No.
I wouldn't. I don't think I'd be the right fit. I think they've got a really good image, and I actually don't think I'd fit the image, the goth. I'm always too much pink.
That could be the thing, though. You can have your own thing in that.
Yeah, you don't think you're a fake Italian enough.
Yeah. Exactly.
What I do find fascinating, where you just mentioned that girls in music is your favourite thing. What about girls in tattooing?
Yeah.
Have you found the experience of... It is traditionally quite a male-dominated field.
Totally.
For a variety of reasons that kind of make sense from a cultural conditioning perspective, but no longer really hold weight now. Have you found that it's been harder for you to progress in your career than perhaps it might have been for a cis white male?
Yeah, I think it always has been in any industry. You know, I think any male-dominant industry. I think that it sometimes can be hard to be taken seriously. You can definitely get like sexist remarks. Yeah, I think definitely, and I just use it to my advantage to kind of be an underdog and just like work harder and, you know, just give me more fuel to my fire. Yeah.
I think, I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, and you too as well, Olivia, but I think that over time people are becoming more open to it. Do you feel that maybe it's fear or the stigma of like females wanting to tattoo that holds them back from doing that? Is there a level of anxiety going, okay, like it's a male-dominated field, maybe I shouldn't? Or they're cautious of stepping into that because they hear the stories that could happen or the experiences that could happen?
Yeah.
That it's not so much their fault at all, but themselves holding them back as well?
Yeah, I reckon that it's a good point. I think that happens, you know, in day-to-day life for women, like that, why they fear. I think that's a really great way of putting it. And yeah, totally, I think that's definitely the case. But it's like what we were saying, it's the industry is so much better now, and I think that there's my clients, like my male or female clients, they have so much respect for me, and I have so much respect for them, and it's just like a mutual thing, you know, and they're all that matter. Like, I don't care about some chump who, if they're gonna think I'm, you know, oh, whatever, she's just a girl, she's like, who cares about what she's doing if they're in the industry? Like, fuck off, you know. It's about people who I actually care about and my clients, and, you know, those people taking me seriously. So yeah.
Would you have any advice for those people that maybe are holding them, you know, are cautious and don't necessarily feel that they can make the leap yet? Would you have any advice for them to pursue that? Or
yeah, definitely. I think in anything you do, anything you ever want to do, because this is all I ever wanted to do, you just have to go for it. If it's truly in your heart of hearts, that's what you want to do, you need to just take it and run with it. It doesn't matter, you know, about, like, don't let those things hold you back, you know, and if it's not the right fit for you, that studio, there will be a right fit for you. I think there's so many amazing shops opening up now with, like, that are all women, you know, the studios, or they're totally accepting of queer people, or like trans people. Everywhere should be, of course, but you've still got that old school mentality in some places, and I think that there is just a place for anyone and everyone now. Yeah, I think if you want to do something genuinely true about it, you just have to do it. Life's too short.
That sounds like a tip for being a Radult.
That is definitely a tip for Radult. I am going to hijack it one more time. More, you know what, you've got me feeling positive about just everything, like creatively. Could you give me your top 3 bands that have females in it? Not necessarily female fronted, but like just, you know, if they could be all females, they could be like just one member or whatever. Give us that.
Okay, I'll start at number 3 and I'll work my way down.
That works good.
Number 3 for me would be PJ Harvey. I've only been listening to PJ Harvey probably within the past 5 years. I've always known of her. My first big date I saw her at like 15. I've always thought she was great, but she epitomizes a musician who takes so many fucking risks, and she's always reinventing herself. Fucking kick ass. Number 2 would have to be Patti Smith. Like, to me, she's totally punk rock, and Horses is, to me, one of the best albums ever. And I saw her live a couple of years ago and she was so fucking amazing. And she knows how to have fun and laugh at herself. Number one for me, my all-time favourite album is Coral Fang, Brody Dahl of the Distillers.
I was thinking it was going to be that when you were talking about Rancid,
Yeah.
you were talking about Distillers. She was one of my high school crushes. Like I was
she's
like,
so hot.
and to know that she was like, you know, Australian as well,
Yeah.
and like I was just like, oh, and that voice, just that
She's
voice.
the best.
Yeah.
Yeah. To me, it's like punk rock perfection.
It is, 100%.
It's the grit.
It's
Yeah.
the great. I knew that voice before I knew the band.
Yeah.
I heard that voice and I was like, I know that voice, and then grew into that.
Yeah.
That was. I think she was the one that made me put like safety pins on all my clothes.
Yeah. She's so hot.
So generally we wrap up with 2 things. I'm going to wrap up with 3 things.
Yeah.
Another 2 of those are lists, and then one's going to be just more about yourself.
Just all the lists.
I love lists.
Me
I actually
too.
do. It's like an OCD
Good.
thing.
Olivia Brumen, list queen.
Yeah.
So the first list, sort of following off from top 3 like artists or musicians and all that, who are like 3 tattooists that people should be on a lookout for, or like should check out their stuff.
Oh, I love this. Oh wow, there's so many. There's so
Rather love
many.
82 if you want. It's fine.
Yeah, or you can just keep going.
Yeah, so 3. Yeah, no, it's hard to narrow it.
Just starts listing the whole tattoo
So,
candy.
you know, Trevor, my boss, he's
Yeah.
the pioneer of Melbourne tattooing. I think everybody who loves tattoos in Melbourne should know Trevor. So he's number 1. Number 2, there's so many fucking amazing women in tattooing, like so many amazing female artists. I think, you know, one of my all-time favourite for years is Valerie Vargas. She works in London. She's unreal. I tried to get tattooed by her a month ago when I was there, and she was away, which sucks, but you know, maybe one day. Number 3, I got tattooed by an artist in San Francisco 4 or 5 years ago, and his name's Grimy, and he's the shit, you know. He's a graffiti artist and he's a tattooer, and he's really inspiring. Yeah, I reckon those 3 are some pretty safe bets.
Yeah, I think that nearly every tattoo artist out of LA is also like a street artist, isn't
Yeah.
it? Like, or like
There's a lot of
Triggs and
that.
like Norm and stuff like that. They
Yeah.
all just sort of do that sort of stuff. I went
Yeah.
to Norm's shop when he was on Fairfax, like
Oh,
this is years
cool.
ago. And just seeing like they actually had where they were building their machines out the back, and it was also like a street art, like
That's
they just like
awesome.
spray painted and like tested shit out there. That was cool.
That's rad.
Somehow I left this out before. What's your all-time favourite piece you've tattooed on someone?
Oh, I like this. My all-time favourite piece I've tattooed. It's a hard one. It's a really hard. I think for me, right here, right now, it would have to be like a portrait piece, because I love doing portraits. So whether a pet portrait or I'm doing a sleeve on a back, it's all musicians, which is so much fun. Like we've done a big Aussie and a John Lennon, and tomorrow we're doing a Robert Plant. So I think
That's
that's
cool.
pretty cool. He's such a cool guy. My all-time favourite tattoo that I have.
That's my next question.
Oh really?
Yeah.
I'm sorry. I was like,
Go for it.
yeah, okay. My all-time favourite tattoo that I have. So I have an incredible back piece by Geordie Cole, but I fucking love it. But there's one tattoo. It's a little doll on my leg. So it's Nikki, my twin sister's teddy bear, Lammy. And I've got it tattooed on my leg, and Lammy now looks like a brown mutilated potato, and she's so beautiful. And it's people every day look at that. What the fuck is tattooed on your leg? But it is my favourite tattoo.
Do you have it as the brown mutilated
Yes.
potato?
Yeah.
Oh, so
It used-
it's not in its form
Yeah,
of glory.
it
It's
used
now.
to be a lamb chop doll.
Yeah.
Oh, that
But
was the
Nikki would
scariest thing.
bite its face and rip out all its fluff, and now it looks like E.T.
It does.
Yeah, like
It does.
she
I'm scared to
cried
touch it.
when I got it. Like Owen Williams did it. He works at Tattoo Magic, and I can't tell you how well he emulated that toy. Like it is unbelievable.
Do you know what it looks like to me?
Yeah,
You know the artwork for Issues by Korn?
Yeah, the voodoo doll.
The voodoo doll.
yes. Oh my god, yes.
That's what I see every time. So I just hear do do
Yes.
do 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 do
It's
falling
It's-
away.
It's true. I literally have had people say, is it potato, walrus, shark, eel, E.T., penis. My Oscar thought it was a vagina. I was like, what are you people looking at?
What vaginas are you looking at? Like,
That's brilliant.
We should, in the show notes, we should put a photo of
We
it.
will.
that should be
Don't
the
worry.
actual podcast cover.
We absolutely
So
will.
you know
This will be the
what we're
podcast
looking at.
cover for this
Yeah,
episode.
yeah.
Will
So it'll be
a
on
picture.
Spotify. It'll be a picture of it.
Yes. I love that.
Awesome. So before we take a ridiculous amount of photos of our guests and her tattoos on the podcasting couch, which doesn't sound dirty at all.
I'm not touching that one.
Good, that would be abuse. We're going to ask you for your tips for being a Radult. You can give us as few or as many as you like.
Yeah.
If someone wanted to get into the world of tattooing and therefore become a Radult, what would be a tip that you would give them?
If you really want to do something, stick true to your dreams, fucking go for it. Just remember that every day you're learning something new. You're only as good as your last tattoo. Your clients are your fucking gold. You would be nothing without your clients, so treat them like gold. And you know, I feel like if you do what you love, you've found your own version of success.
I like it. I like it a lot. On that note, I'm going to just put it out there for the people listening. I am going to book in to get a tattoo with Olivia now. It might be a portrait of my dog too.
Oh my god!
So there we have it. So I guess for the listeners, where can people find you, find your stuff? Where can they look that up?
So yeah, I work at Dynamic Tattoo, Swan Street, Richmond. For anyone who's been to the Corner Hotel, which is one of the coolest Melbourne gig venues, it's like 3 doors back from that.
Look for the yellow building.
Yes. Yeah, I work all the time. I'm always there. Find me on Instagram, Olivia Brumen Tattoo, or send me an email, and yeah, hopefully hear from you soon.
Awesome. Well, thanks for joining us. That was awesome. That was a good, fun time. I don't think we've had a guest laugh as much, so that's good as well.
Thanks.
I'm going to throw out one more shout out. You need to go on to Bandcamp and find Bad Timing by Lil Lamb and the Rosemary's.
I'm doing it right
and
now.
have a listen.
Yes.
I'll put the link in the podcast link as well, so you can check that out.
Because it might have died, but it'll live forever.
Yes.